This is the Dr. Paul Show, a woman's personal guide to understanding men. And now, here is Dr. Paul.
Hi, this is Dr. Paul. Welcome to the Dr. Paul Show. What do men want? What? I thought that was about what do women want? Not so fast, ladies. Dr. Paul did an interview with a number of men from somewhere in their early 30s to early 50s, and they were all waiting in a big room to go to seminars for CE, that's continuing education credits. So I thought, guys, I happen to do the show, and I'd like to ask you some questions. And how do you feel about these things in regard to women? And we had some time, probably about 45 minutes. So let me go through some things with you, and are you ever going to be surprised? Listen, ladies. If you want to find out about a man, why ask a woman? Ask a man. Ask Dr. Paul. Well, Dr. Paul asked these guys, so we are going to have a surprise in store for you. And by the way, you better hang in there because I have a guest tonight who is superb, Dr. Donna Thompson, all right? We'll get to that in a moment. Her book, How to Bounce Back from Being Dumped. Of course, that's never happened to any of us, has it? Because we watch the Dr. Paul Show. Anyway, what do men want? We often hear about what women want. Ladies, have you ever asked yourselves, what do men want? Oh, we know what they want. Sure you do. Maybe not. That's not going to work all the time. Yeah, sex, yeah. Okay, but let's look at the what they want in terms of your we know what they want. The following is a poll taken from over 35-year-olds to about early 50s about what they want or don't want, their likes and dislikes about women, and what do men look for early on, first, second date. No special order, but hygiene was number one. I couldn't believe that. Take a shower. I said, wait a minute, hygiene? Yeah, but let me explain hygiene. They check things out. I know that's hard to believe, a guy, but they do. Actually, pedicures and manicures were pretty big on the list. Didn't have to have nail polish, liked, but wasn't an absolute. Most of them said, yeah, we'd prefer that. But somehow they needed to have something that spoke clean, as in hygiene. All right? I was surprised to hear that. Non-smokers were turned off by smokers. The smell of the hair, okay, the breath, the clothes. Another one, they said nails of different polish. So make your toes match your fingers. Look, scent was another one. What is their scent like? So probably a good idea to wear at least some kind of perfume. I was surprised that guys were that observant. I mean, I really was. But they are. Apparently, I think they got that way from looking at ads directed at females, and they're saying, yeah, that's the way they should dress. They should have their nails match, the toes and the fingers, And then scent. Well, I'm not surprised at that because we talked about the olfactory scent, what attracts us to other people. This is what they were saying. Neatness was another area. Not especially number two, but they were looking for neatness in their home, their car, etc. Now, you and I both know that if you walk in and it looks like a tornado hit somebody's home, it might speak ill of them. Oh, yeah, it might speak ill of them like, OMG, look at this mess. I don't think I want to be around this one. And what's the next thing they think of? Hygiene. This is tough, isn't it? I mean, these guys were really tough, but there were no women there, so they were going to let it all go. Another thing, looks at other men or even flirts while on a date. Okay, walk out the door, it's over. Don't even think twice about it. If you do that, you're toast. Don't even think about seeing the guy again. That seems to be the general consensus. Oh, no sense of humor. Now, that was a biggie. No sense of humor. If you fail to have the sense of humor, you will fail. We just heard the plays early on say something about being optimistic doesn't guarantee success, but being negative guarantees failure. So if you want to be optimistic, it may not guarantee that, a sense of humor, etc., you're going to be winning in this situation, but the opposite is definitely going to be a lose-lose situation for you. All right, dresses badly. Oh, my. A man notices you. They may look like the odd couple. Like you may dress perfectly and they dress like, their bowling shirt is on backwards. All right? But that's not the point. It's not about them. It's about you, which is totally unfair, I might add. Yes, ladies, they are not being fair. About their men, what can I tell you? That's how they are. Okay? They don't have to be, they can dress badly. They don't have to be neat, but you have to be. Not a good idea. But okay, it is what it is. They don't like trashy. Looks like a streetwalker. One guy said, and you'll love this one, I was out with a girl one night, and I know that everybody thought I had bought that date for the night because she looked like she was selling it on the street someplace. Okay? Be a little demure in your clothing, okay? And by the way, if you're going to go select clothing, it might be a good idea to take a couple of your girlfriends, three, and ask a guy who you think has good taste and say, listen, we just like to have your input. Come with us and go shopping. You'll say, oh, I'll buy you a beer later. Okay. He'll be there. Then ask him what looks good on you. And while I'm on the subject, now look, what looks good on you is the key, not this year's fashion. This year's fashion may look great on somebody else, but it may look like Halloween on you. Don't go there. What colors match your skin? What is the tone of your hair? What is the color of your eyes? How is that going to flatter you? You're not there to flatter your clothing. Your clothing is there to enhance you. Why do women look at these fashion magazines and say, that's the fashion for this year, that's what I'm going to wear? Whew. Okay, we'll continue. Did I roll my eyes? I meant to. All right, Dr. Tough Love strikes again, right? All right, another thing, labels. It looks like an adolescent or sorority girl. If you're wearing somebody's label on your clothing because it happens to be in a label, a design or whatever, make certain that they're paying you an advertising fee for wearing that label, because guess what? It's not impressing anyone but you and making money for the designer. Don't look like an adolescent. If you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're trying to look like maybe your daughters, forget about it. Not impressed. Or a sorority girl, that may be even worse. College girls in the sorority, blah, blah, blah. Not good. When several mentioned, well, if they wear expensive designer purses or shoes, it feels like in the future these women will want me to buy them for them, and that turn these guys off. High maintenance. There it goes. Another one was airhead, not aware of the world events or the world around them. So they're not asking you to know the scores of the games, but they may like you to know who is in the White House at this point in time. That could be good. Do you have a senator? What happened on September 11th, 9/11? Remember that one? Okay. Guys really said they got to be able to communicate. Having no opinion is not acceptable. Have an opinion of some sort. If you say, well, I really don't know the issues on this, but I believe that this may be, the general idea. Say something. Looking pretty isn't good enough. I remember on 2.5 Men, they had this female on who did a great job as an airhead. Probably wasn't. She's a good actress, but that's what I'm talking about. Oh, this one was really phenomenal. Bad eating habits, bad manners at the table. I couldn't believe that. I mean, guys, again, these guys might slop up a pizza and drink the beer, and but don't you do it. Double standard. Dr. Paul, that's not fair. You're right. I'm only the messenger here. I have no axe to grind. I don't have a dog in this fight, okay? I'm just telling you that, I'm reflecting what these guys said. You may not like it, but it is what I heard and what they said to me. Some of these guys really get off on that. I wish somebody had talked to me about having some kind of opinion before. I've never been in an opinion poll before. Okay, you are now. Let's have it, and I got it. Okay, bad eating habits, bad manners, talks with mouth open while eating. A number of guys said, yeah. And I had one that said, my ex-wife used to do it all the time, and I hated it. Oh, my. Too loud in a restaurant, embarrassing. Okay, these are things they said. Oh, another one here, I think we touched on this, has no opinion. Has no opinion. Now, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But if you don't try to flatter somebody, if you're talking politics, try to stay away from religion and politics if at all possible. But if you're going to go in that direction, kind of get what this guy's thinking is. And if you don't agree with him, change the subject. And the easiest thing to change the subject with is, are you much of a football fan? Now, let's see, 90% of the guys are, so maybe that would work. Or baseball, if it's whatever. You can change subjects. By the way, do you like to go boating? Oh, yeah, I like to go boating. Okay. What do you do? Where you go? I go sailing here. Like, great. See what I'm saying? If you have a strong opinion, or he has a strong opinion, let him rave on. If it's about politics, if it's about religion. In fact, it might be a good idea because you might discover, I don't like this jerk anyway. He doesn't agree with me, so I'll be kind, I'll be courteous, and next time he calls, he will talk to my answering machine. Period. End of sentence. Life goes on, dude. Okay, no opinion. Way down on the list was, and this is really a surprise to me, it isn't physically attractive, okay? It's not physical attraction that gets him. Oddly enough, it was not first. And some things which went on with attractiveness was a surprise. Most men say they would rather have a 5 to, what did they say, a 5 to an 8 or 5 to a 7 than they would an 8 to a 10. And I said, well, that's interesting. Why is that? Well, they don't trust him. And guys are going to hit on him all the time. And they don't want to go there. So they'd prefer to have that mid-range than to have someone very, very attractive. Oddly enough, the same thing happened with women. Now, highly attractive people seem to go to that level, but a lot of women said, well, if I have a guy that's too good looking, other women are going to be hitting on him, and you know how guys are. He might go out and do something I wouldn't like. So therefore, when they have that type of thing happen, they're going to put it together like, well, if I lower my attractiveness level, I might succeed with this person more. I was kind of surprised at that. So if they're looking at a 5, 6, 7 versus an 8, 9, 10, okay, that's fine. But that's where they are. And keep in mind that not everybody sees a 5. Someone may think as a 3 is a 5, and somebody may think a 5 is a 3. So it's all a matter of opinion, but that was generally what was said. What makes that person feel more secure? How am I going to feel more secure? Well, if I choose somebody in the middle, then I'm not going to feel insecure if I'm with somebody at the top. If you're the top already or perceive that you are, in male or female, then maybe that's where you want to go. It's all a matter of how people feel about how secure they want to be. Interesting. Shows some lack of self-confidence in some ways too, doesn't it? I was surprised. Okay. Though the majority of men said they did not like breast implants. And the comments, nice to look at, but too hard, look phony, no feeling. One said, all breasts and no brain. All breasts and no brain? Cool. I had a real surprise on this one. Apparently, that's not the motivation that a lot of men have, that they're not looking for someone to have implants. Another thing happened to be, you may recall on the show, we had a physician at one point, and he talked about tattoos. A lot of guys didn't care for tattoos. They may have them, but they don't want you to have them. oddly enough, a lot of women don't like tattoos either. Somehow it seemed dirty to them. I don't know why, but it seemed like not clean. A doctor on the show, you recall, one time said, tattoo ink can cause liver problems. A lot of lead in that ink. Be careful. Also, many people don't have the privilege of being in a tattoo, I guess, parlor that uses the right sanitation techniques to keep hepatitis C from occurring. A lot of people who have tattoos have hepatitis C. So these were some oddities that came up. The doctor also said that the piercings, especially the piercings in the navel, were very dangerous because they've had so many cases of infection from navel piercing. Seems like a bad place to pierce. Whoever thought of that? Anyway, and he also mentioned about tongue piercings, which he threw his hands up. So I can't even talk about those. So that's the way. I imagine eating hot peppers is tough when you're having have a pierced tongue. Oh my! So it goes. This was what these guys stated. I was totally surprised. They let it go, and maybe they were a little bit anxious about the CE course they were taking. I don't know, but maybe they didn't want to be there in the first place, and taking the CE course was kind of in between the classes. So they were kind of letting it all hang out. Yeah, this is how we feel. You want to know? Here it is. It would have been nice to sit there and have a beer with them, but we weren't there having coffee. And they were pretty specific in what they liked and what they didn't like. So what do men want? Well, that's a good thing to find out, especially if you're in the dating world. And now you know, from Dr. Paul. And we'll be back right after these messages.